on my end. All right, I'll call the meeting of the governance committee to order. Quick roll. Andrea,
Hello.
Councilman Gaddis,
Here.
Councilman Jefferson,
Here.
Councilman Lehman or designee,
Kyle Abercrombie here on behalf of Commissioner Dyman.
and myself. Awesome. Full house today. You all should have seen the agenda, so I'll kick it off with a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Standing? All right, great, moved. So I think next steps we'll want to go into executive session for to discuss some personnel matters. You all should have received a separate Teams link for that. I believe you can just mute here and jump over to the other one. So could I get a motion to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Just switch on.
Madam Chair, it looks like you're muted.
Thank you, Coma. All right, I think we're just waiting for Councilman Jefferson to come back. And then we can continue. Why don't we get started? Hopefully he's just clicking back. There we go. All right, so no motions coming out of executive session, so we'll jump to the next agenda item, which is the org chart. So you all should have received that and hopefully had some chance to review it. There were some concerns in terms of both reporting structures, but also clarity around differentiating roles and responsibilities. And I think that we have I'm assuming we have a lot of discussion on that. So I will open up the floor for reactions, comments to the org chart as it was shared out.
Madam Chair, Kyle has his hand up.
Sorry, thank you, Kyle. Go ahead,
No
Kyle.
problem. Just trying to follow the rules here. Yeah, so I just had a couple questions on the org chart. The first was, I noticed that a few of the positions included in their responsibilities, managing the YouTube channel and social media. In my experience, it seems like one person should probably be designated that responsibility, with one person backing them up while they're, away on leave for whatever reason. So maybe that's something that we should take another look at in terms of the job descriptions. In terms of the org chart itself, I just would like more information on the difference between the executive assistant and the administrative assistant. Just trying to understand how those positions are different, and just a better understanding of that. I don't know if, yeah, I'll just leave those with you. Thanks.
I'll let Councilwoman Comer jump in, and then I think I'm maybe able to add a little bit more clarity. Go ahead.
Sure, and this was not necessarily, I actually just had context to add, not necessarily in response to Kyle's comments. And I think, but to his point, I think what would be very helpful is an articulation of the mission, vision, and goals of the council, right? And the goals that are associated with that, with the mission and vision, and then how the proposed staff each add to that goal, and sort of what they're bringing to in support and furtherance of that goal. That would be very helpful for me to sort of see the picture and understand the justification. And I think it will mitigate some of what Kyle has mentioned around the redundancy in some of the descriptions.
Thank you. Yep, that makes sense. Kyle, to address one of your questions around secretary and executive assistant, I know on by title they sound very similar. I think the descriptions do sort of separate them out. My understanding is the secretary position is more focused on the logistics. So, the meetings, getting the meetings scheduled, supporting, getting the notices out, making sure that we're kind of following what we need to. Whereas the executive assistant role, I think that was the official government sort of job code or family.
Yes.
That made sense. But the description is really, I think we were looking at it as sort of like a outreach communications type of person, or outreach marketing type of person, really focusing on community outreach, probably managing a lot of the social media stuff would fall under this person, would be more of that like outward facing person that's engaging on the different things that we've got going on, especially as we think about how we're transitioning some of our marketing dollars and not spending as much with potentially with our third party.
Yeah, and if it's helpful, Kyle, the brand director position is the executive assistant position is the swap out for the brand director position. Because the brand director description really did not fit what we what we really needed. And the executive assistant by classification allows for a lot more flexibility in job responsibilities.
I could just, thank you. That's super helpful clarification. I appreciate that. So is this org chart, is this all job classifications, or is it kind of a mix and match between classifications and job titles?
So the only classification that is in question is the program manager at the top, because my understanding was that there was a desire to make it a supervising program manager, but that is not a classification. So I don't know if that classification would have to be changed if this structure were to remain.
Okay, if I could make just a request as we kind of build this out, the conversation out a little more. When we think about aligning staff with SEC priorities, it would be helpful to me if we use job titles for this public discourse, so that people watching at home understand, like, we're talking about the lottery director. We're not talking about, a program manager 1, job class XYZ 17, just a suggestion to just to help make it easier.
That's a great idea. Appreciate that. Other sort of questions, comments, concerns? Do we feel like this structure makes sense from a kind of how it's organized, or do we feel like we need to really realign this first with our mission, vision?
Yeah.
Councilman Gaddis.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Councilman Gaddis, and then I'll jump back to you.
If we're not too excited about the ultimate work product, we should send it back until we're excited about it. I don't think we're under any time frame or any rush. Am I right to get this done?
I would say we're not under any time frame, but I think once some of these positions have been approved within the budget and hiring starts, it would be good to have a sense of structure for those folks that are looking to come into the roles.
I think to the extent possible and practical, we should work on getting this right and something that we're all comfortable with before we advance it. Just a suggestion.
That's fair enough. Do you have any additional kind of questions or requests you'd like to make that we can take back to the staff as they work on this?
Not particularly, it's just the energy I'm sensing.
Okay, I'm going to jump to Councilwoman Comer, and then I'm going to go to Councilman Jefferson.
Actually, I yield my time to Councilman Jefferson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's probably going to need some adjustment down the road once things get started. So I think we should allow ourselves some flexibility as a council to make those adjustments. Just vote for purposes already.
Councilman Jefferson, you keep cutting out. I don't know if it's just me or if everyone else is getting that. You're like every other word gets cut out.
Really? I'm sorry. I have everything up. I don't know what's going on.
Now it's better. I think if you stay close to the thing, you're good.
Okay. I apologize. Well, if my thing is having flexibility and making the throughout adjustments, we should allow ourselves some flexibility on org chart, allow ourselves some flexibility to make some change. That's basically the point I want to make. So that if we vote and say yes, this chart we are comfortable with, in the words of Councilman Gaddis, then let's still say, okay, we can make, if necessary, adjustments down the road if we have to move somebody around because it's not working out as presented. That's the point.
Absolutely. Fair point. Thank you. Councilwoman Comer?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think we will be able to have some flexibility, but I think going back to sort of my original point is that if we can always pivot and be agile, but I think as long as our initial mindset or what we initially present is that this is what we think is needed in order to fulfill the mission of the council, then any changes we make will be, be explained in that way as well.
Great. Okay, so what I'm hearing is we'll take some of the questions and concerns that have popped up along with the recommendation of aligning this to council's mission, vision, and goals. Maybe kind of zooming out a bit and really building a narrative around how this fits into play versus a job description, I guess. And we'll ask them to sort of update that and bring it back. Excuse me. Probably bring it back to the governance committee first before we take it to full council. Okay. If nothing else, then we can move on to our next item. So next item was executive director's fiscal year 23 goals, which I believe were also shared with council members. This is a working document. I believe it's something that is actively a work in progress. I'm not sure we are ready to discuss and necessarily approve. But if there are, items that any committee member feels like, hey, I think we should think about this to add on in case, as we kind of build this out. I think this is a great forum to share that, and then we will have Chairwoman Comer and Paul and Executive Director January sort of work together in cleaning this document up and bringing it back for review. Councilman Gaddis.
I only ask that whatever goals are created are very sensical, practical, and meaningful. We all know everyone who talks about goals, but we're like, is that really a goal? So I just want to make sure we don't do what they do and waste time on chasing waterfalls. But I probably won't weigh too much in on the goals because we have some very intelligent, competent people on it. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing the end product.
Great, thank you. Any other additions, comments on it? Okay, great. With that, we don't, as a committee at this time, have any recommendations to the full council for review, unless I missed anything. And then, beyond that, we'll reconvene in about a month with the goal of coming back to the org chart, the fiscal year 23 goals, and then also revisiting the bylaws as we had discussed earlier in the year. Great. Anything else for the good of the order?
Move to
Not-
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
day.
Thanks. You too.